Hey guys, Ty here, and welcome back to Custom Showcases. Today, I'm doing an updated custom collection video. Now to date, I have roughly 140 customs. I'll put the actual count on screen right now. Big number, crazy. So today, we're going to start off with the locomotives specifically made for my Sodor Trainspotting AU. Starting off, of course, here's Thomas. Now this is the S1 version of Thomas. That has changed significantly since the last time you've seen it. I have repainted the face, given him vinyl cut eyebrows and pupils, along with a vinyl cut number. And I also completely repainted him because of a poor cracking gloss varnish. And I give him a gold dome, kind of a Crovan's Gate Works signature. Next up is the S1X version of Thomas, which is really just the same as it was. I'm probably going to make a new version of this at some point. Next up is Edward, who also has changed quite a bit since last we've seen. I did the same face treatment that I did for Thomas, repainted, vinyl cut eyes and eyebrows, and I gave him a Westinghouse pump because the LNER D40s, which in Trainspotting, that's what he's based off of. You know, they have one, so he has one too. Next up is Henry Mark I. Nothing really changed here except the face, which is, again, the same treatment as the last two. Next is Henry Mark II. Same thing as the last few models there. New face and everything. Next up is Gordon, who has not changed since the last time we've seen him, but honestly, I would like to make a new one of these at some point. I'm not really happy with how the firebox is looking nowadays. As you can see, it's kind of like bulging out there. It's not the best. Plus, the face is significantly darker than everything else here. Even Thomas, who was also hand-painted, everything else is really sprayed. Well, most of everything else here is sprayed. And even then, the paint that I mixed was incredibly dark. Next is James. Again, biggest changes are the face and the vinyl cut number. I forgot to mention that the Henrys both have vinyl numbers too. Next is Percy, who got a completely new chassis because the balsa wood one that I gave wasn't that good. Now he has a big old overhang and a vinyl cut number. I might change that up at some point too, but we'll see. Next is Toby, another one I'm not incredibly happy with. It's really just the shade of blue on the side plates. I'm going to change that to a more vibrant color at some point. Next is Duck and Oliver. Neither have changed, and I'm happy with both. Next is Donald and Douglas. Their changes are the vinyl cut numbers, otherwise they are the same. Next is 98462, who hasn't changed since the last time. Or no, I guess since the last time I showed him in depth. He's changed a lot, but he's the same as he was in Sodor Trainspotting where we start. Next is 87546. The vinyl cut numbers are the biggest thing that's changed, plus the new paint job that I gave him. Again, it's been a while since this guy's been on the channel, so he was in a completely different shade of blue than he is now. Next is the red engine, or Theodore. Nothing changed since last we've seen. Here is Spencer. I believe this has changed since the last time I've seen him, or you've seen him. I think he had black wheels, like the Hornby model, but now that's not the case. He's just full silver, kind of replicating the silver Link, I believe is what they're called. Like some of those early A4s. I'm not really happy with this one either. There are some modifications. There's a lot of techniques that I did that I could do better on now. Next is Ginty. I don't think I've really ever showed this guy anywhere before, but this is an Oliver with a new smoke box and funnel. Other than that, no major modifications. Next is Stanley, who was a early Allsbrough branch engine before the Allsbrough branch was what it is today. This is just a stock standard Stanley repainted with a new smoke box. This is a very old custom, if you couldn't tell. One that I would maybe like to redo at some point. Next is Roger the coffee pot. I'm very pleased with this. I'm really pleased with how this came out. This was Glynn originally, but then I added the tram skirts, which I have to repaint and spray before I do anything with him. But he's the other coffee pot on the line. Next is Diesel. He is just an old style Diesel with a painted on face. All the Diesels in Trainspotting are going to have kind of these embedded faces. But yeah, since I believe I showed him on Twitter, I never really posted him on here before. Same with Mavis here. Really just the same there. But I'm a fan of how these two came out. Next up, we have the Skarloey plot, who have all changed. Well, almost all changed since the last time you've seen them. Here's Skarloey. Completely repainted him and given him actual writing on the nameplate there. You can I gotta shuffle. You can see that there, kind of legible. It's kind of cool. Next is Renius. Repainted, new lining. Sir Handel, again, repainted, repainted from red back to a nice deep shade of blue. Peter Sam, again, from red to this green. Rusty, he has a little nameplate and a number plate now. Duncan, he's also gray. I thought I used the same shade of gray on that I did with Rusty, but clearly that's not the case. But he does have blue lining and the number 6 painted up there. Next is Idle Hue, which I believe is the most recent of these narrow gauge customs. This was from a Luke. These were Luke tanks. Luke, excuse me, no. This was a Sir Handel, I believe, safety valve piece. Same with the smoke box and cab. Next is Duke. No longer just the Ertl one. Well, I mean it is, but I gave him a detachable tender with adventure couplings in there. Repainted, put the Duke on his side. It's looking pretty cool. Next is Fred. I completely redid Fred. This is a piece of balsa wood and milliput, I believe. Completely repainted. New face. That is an Iron Airy bird face, or Iron Airy Iron Bird face. It's looking pretty nice. Next is Falcon, just a stock standard. Later take and play Sir Handel. Shaved off buffers, painted running board and front of cabs. Next is, I don't really know who this is meant to be, but it's just a stock standard, or not stock standard, excuse me. Just a mid-Sodor railway engine with some tram skirts. Looking pretty cool, might be Jim or something. Next is Jennings, the first one based off of the Audrey, the original mid-Sodor Audrey layout. I made that like right after that was revealed. Good 3 years ago at this point, which is crazy. And then finally, Mighty Mac. It's the red Skarloey Railway painted Mighty Mac, excuse me. I might redo this one at some point. I don't know, probably not. If I'm going to redo it, I'll probably just put it into standing out colors, but we'll see. Next up are models made specifically for Sodor Classic mini stories and some OCs. First off is Percy. Now you did see this in the most recent collection video, but I figured this counted to the custom collection as well. What I did here was take a 2022 Winnerelli Percy, give it a, I believe, 2001 Percy face, and then swapped out the wheels for older style wheels. And then I painted the cab and the buffer beam because there's like fire flickering type stuff in the cab. I don't really care for that, and I didn't really like the buffers either, so I just painted that over. Next is Bear, who is changed a little bit. I gave him a little more yellow on top and the gray to connect the roof. And I redid the face, filling in the back and giving him vinyl cut eyebrows. Next, I haven't shown these on the channel at all, but here is Rex, Bert, and Mike, all in sort of this Wooden Railway style, all meant to emulate the Capsule Play Rail line. Because when I do adapt the rest of the book, or the rest of the smaller railway engines book, there we go, I'm not going to be using the Capsule Play Rail because they are not very easy to work with. Speaking of Capsule Play Rail, here is Frank. I took a dart, painted him, cut off some stuff, and then bada boom, he's right there. Next is the Paddington version of Duck seen in Great Western Quarrel. This is a 1990, let's just look at the wheels actually before I say that. A 1996 Duck, painted into this darker green, the same green that the Trainspotting Duck and Oliver are, actually. Then lettered and numbered up accordingly. Next is a model started by the tow train back in the day that I finished. I repainted him into this purple, lined him, numbered him, and all that. Now next is the most recent custom, as of the time of recording this video, the Flying Scotsman. Obviously the only custom bit is the front, because the tenders are just the 2013 ones, but I painted it so it could be, you know, both matching the tenders and look better than the actual Flying Scotsman does, because I'm not really a fan of how that thing looks, and I am a fan of how this thing looks. You'll see this in action at some point. Next up, we got some OCs. Starting off with my main man, Richard. And now Richard, he's been updated a lot, because now he has fully 3D parented and customized faces, as you can see here. That's the base smile one, and then everything else here. You can tell which ones are giving me trouble, because the darker shades of gray, he just was not cooperating in those. I don't really know what was happening. Other than that, this is completely the same as the last time you've seen him. I should probably mention the faces are made by Thomas Marler 96 and printed by Ron Dog 248, then painted and vinyl cut by me. Next up are the engines of Greenhill. Here is Quinn, the N2, made from a 2001 or something Thomas, with a Molly face and a bit of the boiler shown there. Next is Alan, the Q1. This is just a Neville with I believe a Bill face that I customized and then given the bullied spoked wheels. Next is Grant, the British Railways 04, or not 04, 05, I believe. This guy is basically just scratch built. I believe this was also like a Ben chassis or something that I drilled the hole in the middle. You can kind of see the discrepancy in the wheels, but I'm happy with how he came out. Got balsa wood for where the engine is, then just a block of wood for the cab that's shaved off. Next is Jerry, the Barclay engine. This was a lot of things together. This is a knockoff lady chassis, Billy wheels. Oh, I think an Oliver cab or something that I cut and milliputted. And then a Billy boiler, Billy funnel, and then a Adventure Trevor face. I believe the original version, which you'll see later, has been on the channel before in some capacity, but it's all good there. Next is one of my first OCs ever, Joshua, in a brand new form here. Now this is a lot of the same knockoff lady bits. That was crazy. But no, there was a lot of the knockoff lady components that I used for this, like I did the cab and the tanks. Then I used the Billy smoke box and like sandbox bit for the smoke box, and then I think a Bachman Edward whistle. He is a scratch built, or not scratch built. In universe, he is a custom built engine, hence the absolute wonk that he is. He looks disgusting, but that's kind of the point. Next is the Manning Wardle W class Shane. This is a very old custom for the most part, but updated more recently. Like, I changed the face up a little bit. I made the black banding a little thicker. I should give the wheels a repaint and probably a respray, but we'll get there eventually. Here is Eastleigh, based off of the Eastleigh Works 09, I think. Now this is another very old one, but I'm still very proud with how this came out. All the lining and stuff still, I think, holds up pretty well. All the lining and paneling and all that. I like it. Next is a Great Western 460. When I made this originally, I think it was going to be a hull class, but ultimately this could really be any of the various Great Western 460s. This was made from an old style Henry and a Molly tender reversed. Those like bumps at the front cut off and then just re-glued down. And I don't remember where I think this was an Oliver smoke box and funnel. I can't fully remember. Now next is someone that I've gotten quite a bit of inquiry about. This is Franklin the Forgotten Engine. He's from season 1. How do people not remember him? I don't know. Next is a Sodor Trainspotting OC. This is Thornkel, the Southern Railway U-boat. He was, I think his first major appearance was in Henry's Demons. He's a much later introduction when the Sodor Steam Trust was made in the 70s, if I'm remembering my own lore correctly. He was one of the first engines bought after Oliver for that. Next is Wells, the BD Well tank. This is another very old one. Now, I specifically remember making this guy on an old tow train stream. Jesus, many years ago. I think in 2019 or something. I don't really remember. But this is a lot of weird components, like the boiler, the splashers, and like this. I think these are the sandboxes up front. That's all made from clay. And then the cab and bunker are a Thomas one, I believe, just cut down. You can tell it's not the cleanest cut. You can see the wonk there. Took a duck face, painted it, took one of the wheels off, put a take and play wheel. It's not the best, but I'm still kind of proud of it because there are also like a lot of fun memories making it that I remember. Now we're really going back in time. This is Clark, the LNER J50. Oof, man, this guy is rough nowadays, but that's okay, man. This was just a Thomas. I used clay to extend the tanks forward and make the safety valve there. That's a Percy face. Oh, man, I haven't looked at this thing for a while. I'll have to leave that alone. He was in the original version of Sodor Trainspotting as the shunter that replaced Thomas. I said that he was from Barrow and Furness, but that doesn't make sense because Barrow would be on the LMS at that point. LNER, whatever. Next is a little Rustin that I made. I believe that he was also in Henry's Demons for a second. In Sodor Trainspotting, he is one of the main station pilots at Knapford. This is an Adventures tender chassis that I put a bit of wood on to make the body. He's minuscule. I mean, look at him compared to even his Clark here. I mean, maybe compared to any other diesel, he would be even shorter than most things. Speaking of diesels, here's this guy. I don't really know what's going on here. I don't know what he's supposed to be based off of, but he's one of those like generic wooden railway things that you could find at like Walmart and Target back in the day. he's very much seen better days. I don't know what this is. I think this is like old primer getting with the paint getting scratched off, exposing it. I gotta redo this guy at some point to bring him up to modern standards. I gotta do that with these last 4 here, but we'll do that at some point. Oh dear, it seems that I forgot somebody. And here he is. This is a character that I don't really have a name for yet. This is a London Transport pannier tank. I originally made this a long time ago, but the last time I was home from college, I decided, hey, I should repaint this. That's all I did. Like I said, it's still kind of a work in progress. For example, I gotta put the London Transport lettering on, gotta give him the number, and I gotta give him a final spray. The face. Ooh, what was the face? I think it was a Billy one that I used Melput to give a big old butt chin and big old funny eyebrows. But you know, I'm proud of how he's coming out so far. Probably gonna get water slides or something to the lettering, because as it turns out, vinyl cutting isn't really working for this small of a scale. Next up is a section that I call miscellaneous. These are either a bunch of wooden models that don't really fit into any of the previous categories, old models, real-life models, non-Thomas models, and various non-wooden railway or AU focused models. Starting off with one of the older ones in this collection, this is Stepney. This is one that I made back in, I believe, 2017 or so. Honestly, I still think it kind of holds up. I think this is a good improved edge in green custom mix. The lining is still pretty clean. I like it. I probably will make a new version of this at some point. Same with Bluebell. Bluebell here was seen in, I believe, Bluebell of England, and then never again. I don't really like this one, but I have it, and it's whatever. Oops. Knocked some wood over. My bad. Next up is Primrose. No, I think this is significantly better than Bluebell. I feel like everything is lined better, detailed better, and all that. But even then, I'm still not the happiest with it. I think the smoke box is kind of goofy. Next is Captain Baxter. I'm going to be saying that I don't like this a lot in this section, so I don't really worry about that. This is just my childhood lady, I believe, that I painted awfully. Again, another one that I would like to redo. One that I'm not going to redo is this Southern Railway D-Class, I believe is the classification. I'm forgetting. This is a Wooden Railway Edward with a James modified face, I believe. And I think that the color that I got was very good. And this was really my first foray into painting letters and logos specifically like the railway that I'm trying to replicate. I'm a big fan of this. I think it looks very good. Next is Old Toby. I made this for my very old Toby Seaside Holiday episode. Man, I mean, it's better than it was. You should have seen this before I repainted it. There was like a bunch of like gashes inside for whatever reason. It's not really that good. Again, another one that I would like to probably just make a new version of at some point. Next is Duchess of Hamilton. I don't think this is too bad. Made this a while ago out of a Caitlin. You can see where like the top bit really was. I am planning to use this in a future Sodor Trainspotting episode, but not really as a primary focus. Oh, this is Jackson. This was someone for my like very first, or no, one of my first AUs. I don't remember what it was going to be. It was going to tie into my original Green Hill series and my original like wooden series. It was gonna be all dark and edgy and junk. I'm glad I didn't go through with that. But I do like how I did the claw. I think this is a nice Lego built claw. Next is this repainted Dennis. I got a really bad condition Dennis at a flea market, I believe, many years ago, and I decided to repaint it. And that's not that bad. Could be worse. Next is the siding inspection unit. I don't remember what I named him, but he was gonna be a little snooty guy, so we gave him little glasses. This was from one of those like crazy generic, oh dear, crazy generic play sets back in the day. I think this was like an animal car or something. There's like two little holes on the top of the chassis. You slotted little animal figures in. If you remember what I'm talking about, then like sound off in the comments. But like, I don't mind him. He's like a little like rail speeder or something. Next is Hurricane. Ooh, yeah. This is another very, very old one. You can see where the paint's starting to chip through. The firebox is kind of going away. And you can obviously tell where I extended the bunker with just or added a bunker, I guess, with just a piece of wood cut down. And this big old hole in the side of him. I don't really know. I don't remember how that happened. This was like a talking Gordon. I thought, honestly, it's a good idea, I think, still. But nowadays, the execution would be better. And now this. Oh, man. This is the oldest custom in this video. This is just a BR07, which is a talking salty, painted blue. These bits are meant to be grills. When I had this like gross metallic paint. I'm not going to redo this. This is going to stay as it is, as like a time capsule situation. I might make a new version of them at some point, but time is just going to have to tell on that. Here's Southern Railway Rosie. Oh, man. This was a red Rosie originally. You could tell from the little splotches of red on the chassis. Then I painted into this, and as I was heading up to this video, the top just came off. Oh man, this guy's rough. Or this gal's rough, excuse me. Not really a fan of this. I might just turn it into scrap or something at some point. We'll see. And now something that I'm happy with. Hooray! This is the little tram from the Studio Ghibli movie Castle in the Sky. Ooh dear. I really like that scene because obviously trains or whatever. But I also just really like how this turned out. And this was one of my first forays into like lining tape. Like, well, I guess more recent forays. There's probably a few in here that use tape. But using like, what's it called? Tamiya modeling tape. I got like the white version, which sucks. I started using the yellow one more recently. I think Scotsman is the first thing that I used that tape on. But like even then, even with all the flaws and like imperfections that tape gave, I still think that this turned out very nice. I used, I think, a Bachman Thomas coupling and buffers for this. I like cut off the like actual buffers and then painted them red, glued them on. I think it looks very nice. Next are a couple of Wiscasset, Waterville, and Farmington railway engines, if I'm remembering that correctly. This is number 9. This is a engine that I've ridden behind before. I don't know how the blue got in there. I'll have to patch that up at some point. But this was a lot of things. The boiler, the running board, the chassis, and the smoke, like most of the smoke box. That was from a take along Edward. Then I think like the safety valve and whistle, if that's what these are meant to be. This bunker piece and the funnel and lamp are from a take and play Ferdinand. Oh shoot, as well as the cab. All that's from a take and play Ferdinand. And then the smoke box door was from an old Bachmann model that I messed up when I was way younger, which I'm sad that I did that. I should have done that. But yeah, this was, like I said, this is an engine that I've ridden behind and I wanted to make it. Same thing with this one, the Wiscasset, Waterville, and Farmington Railroad, number 52. This is their little like diesel maintenance engine. I made this out of a dart and used a bunch of components from various things to make it. I don't really know what this little white crust up is. I think this might just be from a might be from the varnish that I used. I'd never noticed that until now. There are some things that I would like to patch up on this, like the grill area that's just clay and not milliput. I might redo that at some point, but I don't know. I really like how this turned out. I like it a lot. And then this is a little rail speeder that I made, I think back in 2019 or so. I rode in this specific one at a Dow with Tom's event when I worked at one, which is a fun little fact. And I think it turned out really cool. I like it. This is the same kind of chassis that this guy was on, like for that very generic, like wooden set one. Again, if you know what I'm talking about, at me. This is a Thomas, if like the Last of Us video game events happened like on Sodor or something. I made this was like one of the only things that I've made at college where it had very limited tools. Because I didn't have a Dremel, so like the mouth is all weird. But I think like the weathering is pretty good on this. Like, I'm not too disappointed with how it turned out. Excuse me, just gotta move over. Now we're on to some old versions of models. This is the Richard Mark IV. This was the these were the original components that Richard was made out of: a talking railway James and a Donald tender. There we go. You can see that. You can also see like the old paint on there. I'm not displeased with how this turned out, but also I'm not that pleased either. That's why I made a new one. But this is another one that I'm not going to ever try to redo for history reasons. Same thing with Quinn here. The same methodology with the new one was used on this. But you can kind of tell why I redid it. This part, the exposed boiler bit, that's just clay. That doesn't look good. So I redid it, made a new face and all that. Oh man, and then Grant. Ooh, Grant, buddy, you are looking rough. I am sorry. So this was a diesel cab chassis and I guess running board with a bunch of cardboard for the like engine compartment. The face is just gone. I have no idea where that went. Same with the little exhaust pipe that was meant to be there. Sorry, was out of frame a little bit. I think I like the proportions of this better than the new one, but that's the only net positive there. And next is Ivo Q. I think this is my favorite of the old versions of the models. Because I think you did a pretty good job with the face specifically. That's not too bad. I made that with clay. It's lined okay. The cab extension is, ooh dear, not focus. Excuse me. As it's there. It's kind of gross. Just made out of clay. Next are some gifted models. This is the Tow Train's City of Truro. That is now in my loving hands. This thing is absolutely amazing. Say what you will about the Tow Train himself, but we were friends back in the day, and I was able to get this when he retired from. Or excuse me, no, I was given this second hand, or his third hand, because the Tow Train retired from wooden custom making, and this was one of his later things, and I think it looks absolutely incredible even for the age. I gave it this Edward face because the original face, which I believe was a take-along mic, just didn't come to me when I got it. But I love it. I absolutely love this thing. Same with this. Now this is Glenn for Sodor Trainspotting, and then probably for miniseries too, or mini stories too, excuse me. This was made by Rondog248. He gave me a casted thumper face that I painted up. I added the little number 1 and the Ellsbridge and Farquhar Railway lettering on the side there. I like it a lot. I like how it turned out. Well, I guess that's his handiwork, but still. Now next, we're leaving the realm of Wooden Railway and going into some other ranges. So here is Mad Bomber Thomas. Not much to say about this. This is just a Earl Thomas with the running board screwed on backwards and black wheels. I think some are from a tanker, and this middle one is like just fully painted. Next is Mute. This is just a Earl Diesel that I painted black and gave the iconic little splotch on. And then Clone Andy. This is just a Earl D261 painted completely black and poorly painted face. I would like to respray that in a metallic paint at some point and probably give the actual body probably a matte coat. Now next are some old ass Trackmaster customs. Here's a Railway Series. Oh dear, don't do that. Here's a Railway Series Edward. Yeah, this is just a 2013 Edward painted into a darker blue. I don't think it turned out all too bad. You can see some like bleed over, I think, from like whatever varnish that I used to spray it. It's fine, I guess. Same can be said for this. Ooh, no dear. For the Spencer. Just a Trackmaster Spencer. No, excuse me. Oh, wow, I'm forgetting what it's called. But it's that Spencer that had like the Cole mustache from the one Nitrogen episode. I repainted that. I took the nameplate for the Trainspotting Spencer from this. Oh, I gave them both little coal deposits on the bunker, or not the bunker, on the tenders. It's fine, I don't really care. Next is a Teleclin custom. I don't mind this. It looks okay. Obviously, if I did this now, it would look a little bit better. Maybe I would make the, or attempt to make the name and number plates legible, but obviously I didn't do that. Next is a Stanley. Yeah, I don't know. I just gave, I don't know what it was with me giving Stanley yellow highlights, but I did a lot of that. Oh, man. An old Red Rosie. I think he used paint pen for the white. We don't talk about this. It's gone. Corner shame. You know what? While we're at it, corner shame. Now we're on to my HL models. I've shown all of these, almost all of these before. This is a Season 3 style duck. Nothing's changed since the last time you saw him many years ago. Same with this Oliver. Yeah. This one doesn't run, which I'm kind of upset about. And then Diesel. Yeah. And then a Railway Series Toby. This is an Erdl Toby painted up, given a Bachmann coupling hook and an HO three-axled chassis. Not too bad. Now next are some people figures here. Now these 5, of course, are from my short film Railway Cruise, all made out of clay, styled in sort of Thomas-esque workman clothes. I would like to get these redone at some point. Maybe commission somebody to make proper 3D models of these and then get those 3D printed and painted them in a better way. But as of now, I'm okay with how they looked. You can tell that Craig here was made first because he's so much different than all the rest of these. Here are a bunch of little HO style figures, including a Sir Topham hat made out of wood and clay. And then finally, these 2 little guys made specifically to be in scale with Skarloey Railway stuff. You saw them briefly in Rule Breaking Richard, I believe. I like him. And now, onto the rolling stock in various different ranges. Starting off, here is Annie and Clarabelle for Sodor Trainspotting. You can see I gave them, I'm going to say this is an NWR thing. They're both built at Crowman's Gate in the Trainspotting universe. They're painted into the sort of wood and cream livery, I guess, with their big old plates or names on them. In embedded faces, awesome. Here are the green and cream express coaches, including a buffet car. I'm not really the biggest fan of these, not really because of the paint job, it's because the wheels on these are just terrible. They don't roll, so I don't really know what I'm gonna do there. Might have to make new ones at some point. Here are these crimson express coaches. These were originally the red and cream ones, but then I just painted them into a different livery because the original paintwork wasn't really that good. Here's Alice and Mirabelle, the auto coaches. I should say all of these are Orbrium coaches modified. These are the biggest modifications. You can kind of tell the age on this because some of the clay is cracking. If I'm more ones that I'm going to redo at some point, I'm probably going to use either just wood or milliput to fix that up. We'll see. Here are some old coaches. I tried to replicate the the new style Annie and Clarabelle sides for these, which was difficult because this is a custom mix, so whenever there was an imperfection, I had to hope and pray that I had more. I gotta redo the roof on this one because of the rusty old bolts there. Here is a BR Mark 1. This is an older one. The paint's chipping. You can, well, not chipping, it's getting like all, it's getting all scuffed up. This was made using a Sound, Make, and Polar Express coach. Now on to the wagons. These three are just open wagons, all with the same vinyl cut truck panel detailing. This was made from one of those chocolate cars. Kind of see the name there. This was from a Blue Mountain Quarry car. And then this was one of the Giggling Troublesome trucks. Here is another one of the Giggling Troublesome trucks that I gave a Bachmann face and painted the stone black so it can be a coal car. Here's a 2017 Scruffy with clay and ballast sprinkled on in there. Here's the M truck. I thought he would be cool to have an embedded face. He was seen briefly in, I believe, Rule Breaking Richard. That was pretty cool. Or Rule Breaker, excuse me. Rule Breaking Richard was the original name for that episode. Fun fact. Here's a van. I believe this was a Christmas. Oh, yeah. It was a candy cane car that I painted brown and did vinyl cut framing for. Here's another Orbrium painted coach, but now it's a utility van. I'm probably going to do the vinyl cut treatment to this at some point. Here is a mail car. Again, vinyl cut. Lettering using the mail car, or Sodor mail font from the classic series. Here's a Brio flatbed that I painted and removed like the middle like connector bit like on here. I'm just gonna cut that off so it could be a little bit better. Here's a shunter's wagon using a stock standard cargo car that I cut the ends off of and made a little Lego thing in the middle. It says Nafford on this side, but I used this in the Swindon Yard set in Great Western Quarrel. And I think that's the first time this has really been seen on screen. Or that was. This is like the second time. Here are a bunch of Erdl tankers put onto wooden railway chassis. 2 fuel, 1 milk, and then just a generic black one that I turned into sort of a hench tanker, which are like those few tankers from the classic series that were put together wrong. So like the axles and axle boxes were put out farther. I think it looks pretty cool. Here's a couple brake vans. This was just some scratch built one. If you remember the, what are they? What's it called? Oh my goodness, why am I forgetting? The like rail speeders. This chassis was kind of from the same thing. And then the Crazy Caboose, in honor of Peter, Crazy Caboose Creations. Big fan of that one. Now on to the take-along ones, or take-along rolling stock. We have 3 coaches and 1 brake van made out of clay, which I'm going to redo that at some point. And then 3 Archdale Railway coaches, or not coaches, trucks made out of balsa wood. These are already out of commission because I have actual capsule play rail trucks now. Now on to all my 00 stuff. These are 2 trucks based off of the Season 3 roller photos. This one specifically was weathered to kind of look like that. I think it turned out pretty good. I used like a brown acrylic wash for that. Here's a brown one, did the same thing. It's not as noticeable because, well, you know, it's brown, but it looks very good, I think. Here's Scruffy, did kind of the same wash and weathering. Thing looks pretty good. Here is the M truck. This is one of the actual Bachmann ones that I removed the brake rigging off of and painted the little thing that the actual one has on. And then I gave him a spiteful brake fan face. Ooh, there we go. And I painted the S on and weathered it out real good. Here's Troublesome truck number 4, I believe. Just painted black. Not much modification there. Here's Troublesome truck number 3. Painted, given the green door, and then given a wash. Here is a salt van. I don't remember. I know I had to repaint this. I think I had this in a dark gray originally, but I repainted it, made it look all nice, and gave it a 3D printed laughing face. Here's another, oh dear, here's another salt van, but it says Salt Division on it. Weathered this, gave it a 3D printed face. Here is, I believe this is a ratio LMS 10-ton kit. Painted it brown to make it look like that one van from Thomas and the Trucks. I really like that one. Then I gave it a 3D printed face. Then this is just an old Hornby van. Really no modifications. I should weather this up to make it look better. But it has a face. Awesome. Here is actually my most recent 00 custom. This is just a utility van. This was a Sodor mail van that I think I dropped it in paint at one point, and then I left it sitting just in its bare primer for a very long time until I finally finished it. Then I weathered it up. I think it's pretty nice. Here's just a black tanker. Nothing really special about that. Here are my Annie and Clarabelle. These are just the standard Bachmann ones that I repainted and then painted these faces on, which I still think holds up. I still think they look pretty good. It's been a long time since I did that. Here are the red coaches, just the regular Bachmann ones, but with the wet roofs. Now onto vans. This is just a Bachmann brake van. I think I just found it at a train show. It's one of the ones with metal axles and plastic wheels, but I just painted it gray. And then the Sus van. Fun fact, if you've seen the video Brake Sham, I was the one that did the acronym for this. I created Sodor Utility Service. But that's not all. I crazy forgot something. Let's go on over here to the Bachmann HO shelf. These 2 express coaches, I repainted the roofs and removed the corridor section from them, and I painted the buffers and the wheel rims white. Alright, now on to the road vehicles, the smallest section here. First off, we have this little guy. This is a little steamroller that I try to hide in as many videos as I can. I think I named him Lawrence at one point or something, but I'm probably not going to keep that. Next up, we have Sodor Trainspotting George. This was... What brand are you? Sorry, I gotta look at this. Okay, I can't actually make that up, but I think this is a Matchbox steamroller that I found at a train show and then painted up into George colors. I like it a lot. Next is Algae. This is another oldie. you can tell, but I don't mind them. Another one that I might redo at some point. Next up is Sodor Trainspotting Bulgy. This is another one that's not 100% done yet. Still gotta put the, what are they? The decals on the side and the front and the back, but I'll get there one day. Next up is Terrence. If you didn't know, Terrence is my favorite character for some reason, and I really like how this guy turned out. This is a take-along Terrence. I removed some of the inaccurate details, like the little funnel thing that I had, then I added his little pipe. Yeah, I think it turned out pretty cool. Next up is Nelson. This is a Trackmaster Nelson, where I painted the wheels, and this is like bumper, or whatever, and I painted his mouth in, and his little load thing. I added brown to the straps. And finally, oh, not finally, excuse me, here is a Sodor mail van. This is the Ertl one. All I did was paint the wheels, paint the outside of the headlights black, painted the roof, and then weathered the roof a little bit. And now, finally, just a little tractor. I took a Bachmann Terrence. That was crazy. I don't really know why I was selling out there. All I did was just paint it brown, and that's it. I don't really use it that much, hence all the dust. But, yeah. And here are my custom buildings and I guess, vehicle things. First off, here is my Kildane station. This is just a 2013 Knapford station that I took the canopies off of and then painted the actual girder section brown. Then I vinyl cut some station signs, and I think it looks pretty cool. Here's my very old Big Mickey. I'm not really going to use him that much. I think I made him very, very long ago for my first series, which I believe was 5 years ago at this point. But he's okay. He's fully made out of Lego. And this was right after he got a face too, which that kind of shows my age. But, you know, it's kind of cool. Here is just a little shack, I guess. This was a watermill thing that I think my parents got for me a while ago, but then I messed up like crazy. Like you can see where the wheel was. This was like a water shaft, but now it's just gonna be a little background building. Here is, it's meant to be Trevor's shed, but you can see it's kind of falling apart. I should just glue that back on. We'll see what I'll do there. Here is the Scarloey sheds. This is like the main shed and the little sticky out part. I think it looks fine. Now here's a cult classic, a little club banger, if you will. This is a very old shed that I painted years ago. I don't remember what the brand is, but I found these at the Christmas tree shop, or this at the Christmas tree shop. Then I just painted it into this like cream color. Another one that I might redo at some point, but I don't know. We'll see. Here is what I've been using as sort of just a generic big shed. I use this in both the Works, like Crovan's Gate Works, and the Knapford sheds. I think it's standing the test of time. It's just a cardboard box painted red, which I should retouch because I think I ran out of paint when I originally made this, and you can kind of tell that it's just like an Amazon box. Also, the inside is just complete bare cardboard, but that's fine. Okay, we don't talk about that. Woo! Boy, I just stepped on something. Almost fell over. Here is the Farquhar sheds. This is the little side part of it because it's designed, move these out of the way, to go with this bad boy, the work shed here. I mean, these have been seen in videos before. Like it's in the intro for mini stories. I did a set showcase back when I was making videos in my bedroom. But no, that's the general design. Another one that's kind of stood the test of time. Put that on the floor. Oh boy. here is this is what's meant to be the Ellsbridge Station building, but I did it wrong. I didn't realize until way too late that this was meant to be like on top of like the hill next to the platforms. So I've just been plonking it in the middle of the platform, but it's fine, it's cool. Here is a signal box, I guess. Not really based off of anything, but it's one of those like stop and go signal things that I ripped the signs out of and painted. Awesome. Here is Tidmouth Station. Obviously the canopies, those aren't custom, but everything else is. Super low detail down here. I should rectify that at some point. But my iconic all-purpose boards are meant to go in between here and have 3 lines like right next to each other, go through it, and it's worked. Every time that I've used it, it never like looked super out of place. Another time where I ran out of paint, and you can very much tell that. Next up is, oh boy, sorry. This is a big old warehouse. Another one where it's quite obviously just a big box that I like spray painted gray and then lightly dusted with some black. But again, it's another one that can just sit in the background and look fine. And then finally, this is the Knapford building. This is like where MC Bun is, where the various offices are. I think I used this once in Sodor Trainspotting in the background, but then I upgraded to the talking Knapford station. I haven't really felt a need to use this. I'm probably just gonna put it with Kildane or whatever other station I need it for. Ooh. And here are the customs that once were. These are a bunch of things that I now use for parts that were originally full customs. Or just, I don't know, or just are busted in general. Here is my original Joshua, if you remember from my OCs section. This was a lot of things. The main body was from one of those generic train sets that I've been talking about. And then the cab was, I don't remember where I found it, but that was my first like major add-on to any model. I believe what happened here is that one of my dogs got to it and just chewed it all up. Not super cool. Might turn into a scrap piece at some point. This was a lot of things. First off, it was used in Railway Cruise when the red engine swerved off into a siding. I couldn't really do that with Ertl, so I painted up a take-along. And then later, I was going to use it for Richard and the Trucks, hence why this is all painted green, but then that just didn't happen. This is the remains of my Fred the 4F model. I think I used the cab on my Sodor Trainspotting James and just been left to rot and squalor here. There's the boiler, awesome. There's the face. I might just put this on my Hornby Q1, make that Neville. And then this was the Hurricane smoke box that I used. Here's a rare HO custom that I was working on. Now, long before Bachman Ryan was actually announced, I tried to make one in sort of TV series style. So, oof, man, this is rough looking. But I took a James boiler and a Thomas cab, and I think I used the James roof, and hobbled this thing together with some clay and balsa wood. Not the best. Then here is the chassis and running board. It's not that bad. It doesn't really work that good anymore because I stole a crank pin for some reason, and now whenever I need buffers for whatever reason, I'm gonna use this. And here's a more recent one. This was going to be a Sodor Trainspotting HO model type thing. This was a Arlo shell that Rondoc 248 sent me that I painted up, added couplings to, and used an old Thomas chassis for. And then I took it out of my bag because I got it while I was at school, and it just completely shattered. So this is the state that it's in now. Here is the original Jerry the Barclay tank from earlier. This is just made completely out of cardboard on a tender chassis. I might use the tender chassis for something. You can see, that's not, is that, what is that? That's not an actual address, I thought it was. You can see the mailer on the bottom there. Here is my old 1020 custom. I don't remember what I wanted to change, but I wanted to change it up. You can see that I successfully gave it the funnel, cut one of the domes off, and then kept one on. I might finish this at some point. I don't know. We'll see what happens. Here is my modified Rex, which I believe was my 3rd custom showcase episode. This had adventure couplings, but I took them off and used them for Duke. It's kind of a shame. I wish I didn't really mess this up, because like I do genuinely like the take and play Archdale guys. Here is a LG custom that I was making. Focus. Ooh, that was crazy. Yeah, I just kind of stopped. I don't really know what happened there. And then finally, here are the remnants of my Sodor Trainspotting Percy. This was the old, a bit of the old chassis. It's balsa wood. It's shitty. It's not really that good. At some point, I'll take the wheel and magnet and use that for something else. And then this was the busted running board that is just kind of here nowadays. And here's a couple things that I forgot to put in my rolling stock section. 2 scrap tenders. I got a Donald Douglas pair at some point for the Sodor Trainspotting ones, and the tenders were left over. I think they turned out pretty good. Ooh, that's an Exacto blade bit. I'm just gonna... Ooh, that's dangerous. But yeah. Finally, moving over to the workbench here, let's show a couple work in progress things. First off, this one has been in progress for a while, but this is a Stuart or early Peter Sam variant. I should finish him. I will at some point. This is just a stock standard Peter Sam. Well, no, it's not. It's just a Peter Sam with a Tomy Thomas funnel, I believe. But we'll get to him eventually. And then these two are ones that I'm actively working on. These are just repainted Lorry 2 and Lorry 3. I got a Lorry 3 recently. I've had Lorry 2 for a while. I put too much paint on the bed there, and now it's just kind of a whole... And then I touched it. It's a whole thing. It's fine because I'm just going to cover it up with a cargo piece that it came with. I painted it into... Where is it? Into this flamenco red. And then I'm going to finish off all of the windows and stuff, gloss it, weather it, go from there. Then I'm going to do the same with this Lorry 3, which you can see I'm doing this more properly, and I masked off the name, or not the nameplates, the license plates. And then over here, you saw them earlier, but I figure I might as well keep them on the bench. Here is my London Transport pannier. This one's going to be in limbo for a little bit until I figure out what to do with the logo. And then while I'm here, might as well show off how I store my customs. So as I was going with this video, I reorganized everything. So here is all the rolling stock plus the road vehicles, all up here. Very nice. And here are the Sodor Trainspotting and frequent flyers in the OC mini stories, and I guess good custom bin. Then down on the bottom, we have all of the narrow gauge things, the miniature engines, and then a lot of the doo-doo ones. Besides these two. Those two are cool. And that is just gonna do it. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. It was a long one, I know. If you're stuck with me here, thank you very much. If you didn't, that's okay. Bye!